Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Ivory, and tonight's topic is using essential oils for spirituality. My guest is Joy Musacchio of Stillpoint Aromatics in Sedona. So we're going to be talking with her today. First, a special hello to my listeners in Napier, New Zealand. Thank you for tuning in. I see you. You must be telling other people because it's growing so fast, but thank you so much. I love knowing you're listening. That's a place high on my list of must travel to. So I want to jump right into this. I will tell you first, the reason that I decided to invite Joy on this show is because I've been a big fan of Stillpoint Aromatics. It's here in Sedona, and my business partner and I would go in together and buy particular mixtures we could not get easily online. And we wanted to be sure they were the highest quality and made with integrity and made with intention. And she already knew about Stillpoint. So she was the one who passed away a little over a year ago, about a year ago. And she introduced me to it. So I'm excited to have Joy on. And Joy, I know this is important for you based on the vast array of oils you have, but it's said that essential oils are often support the psyche and the spirit. So please share your perspective on how you help bridge the gap between our mental and spiritual journeys with your work.
Okay, yeah, and they are, it's funny because in the industry today, there's a lot of emphasis on essential oils for physical, and they're wonderful for that. They're fantastic aromatic medicine helpers. But the magic I really feel lies in the physical, in the spiritual and the mental and the emotional aspect of it. And so the the beauty about essential oils and why they can affect the mental and the spiritual perspective and the psyche is because when you smell, you smell through the nose, it's the olfactory pathway, and that's the only sense that bypasses the thalamus. And the thalamus is a part of the brain. It's like Grand Central Station. All the connections are there. I call it a bad concierge because it records everything. So if you, let's say, were bit by a little poodle when you were a kid and you didn't integrate that trauma, you'd see one of my poodles, and before you could even think that it's not the same poodle, your heart would start beating, your breath would get short. And that's what the thalamus does. And the sense of smell bypasses it, and it has a direct effect on the limbic system. And so, for instance, let's say if you take, I won't get too technically geeky, you take the hippocampus on the physical level, what it does for us, it's essential for memory formation, cognitive function. On the spiritual, it holds soul memories and ancestral imprints. So by using oils, like let's say rosemary, helichrysum, or anything that really resonates, you not only can affect the brain as it is today, you can affect way, way back on all the different levels and different dimensions. So it's fascinating. It really is.
Okay, if you get a little geeky, because one very important fact I forgot to mention is that Joy is the founder of Stillpoint Aromatics and the master teacher. So I was so excited to see you took that building, the larger building that's near your store, and that's your teaching facility. And so there's people come from all over to learn how to make essential oils of the highest quality. And that's very exciting. So of course you're going to get a little techie on that, aren't you? I mean, there's a lot involved with it to get it right. Can you
It
share
is
with
true.
us? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that it's true. And I think there's just so many different sublayers of the essential oils of plants, because that's really what we're working with, the spirit of the plant and the gift that the plant has given to us through the botanical extract.
Oh,
So
very much so. I would love it if you would share some historical or cultural traditions that have utilized essential oils for spiritual purposes and maybe even how they influence modern practices for us today.
And it's what I tell all my students. We learn about the components, we learn about all of that stuff, but we have to go back to the ancients, and the folklore of the different plants gives us so much information of how we could use the essential oils today, physically and for spiritual reasons. So, ancient Egypt, right? Historically, in ancient Egypt, frankincense, myrrh, cedarwood were used in ceremonies, embalming, sacred rituals. They believe that these oils, and we do today, were to help with spiritual purification, communication with the gods, and prepare the soul for the afterlife. And so today, frankincense still is widely used in meditation and spiritual practices for its ability to promote a sense of connection, calm, and connection to the soul as well as to the divine. And another one, just in Hindu and Ayurveda, sandalwood and rose has been used for thousands of years to open up the spiritual pathways and to balance the chakras to support meditation. And they believe that those oils were calm the mind, calm the spirit, enhance spiritual clarity, and promote devotion. And then today, still, sandalwood and rose are still considered one of the go-to oils for like meditation, yoga, or any kind of practice where you need to make that integration with spirituality and our physicality.
Frankincense is one of my very favorites of essential oils, and I use it a lot in my spiritual work and just in my home sometimes too. I love the smell of it, and
Me
it
too.
really does lift you up. No wonder
It
it's
does.
mentioned so much in ancient times. So many people think of essential oils just purely regarding the physical benefits of them. But what would you say to those who are curious about using essential oils for spiritual purposes, but really not sure where to start?
I would say trust your nose. That's truly, that is it. Just trust your nose. And your intuition. And the reason that I say trust your nose, this comes from my training with pets. If we're working on an issue, whether it's a physical issue or if it's an emotional issue, or if we're working on a trauma that we know of, like, so let's say if I'm having a grief day about my mom's death, if I have a bunch of oils out, you don't look at them, you turn the bottles around, you don't look at them, you close your eyes and you just open them up and you smell. And the oil that will help you will be the one that will feel like a hell yes. It'll be like, oh my God, I love this oil. And surprisingly enough, you could have your favorite oils there. And if that oil isn't a match for what you need for that day, it's not going to resonate with you. So I would just say, just trust your nose, just start smelling, is the first thing. The other ways are, to do some journaling. You choose the oil, smell the oil, and you see what comes to you, and you just do that free writing. And my favorite is connecting to the plant spirit itself, so and that's simple. You have a bottle of neroli and you just say, diva, diva of the plant Nerola, please come and be with me. And you'd be amazed at the information about that oil and self that you get.
I love that. I'm smiling because that is how I've always picked my oils. And that's how I advise my clients, if it smells good and resonates and feels like something you want to work with, that's a good one for you. So it's lovely to hear you say that.
Yes, yes, you're right. Yeah. And of course, if you were treating something on the physical, like oh my goodness, colitis or eczema, then we want to look to the chemistry. But even that, I'm telling you, even if you have a physical condition that you're working with and you pick oils that are good for that physical condition, if you close your eyes and smell them, the ones that will serve you best from the group that would work will be the ones that you'll like. It's self-selection.
It is,
It's fascinating.
it is fascinating. And, I want to say really quickly, because I think I told you and I didn't tell everybody who's watching on YouTube, I always have a background, and this background is essential oils from Stillpoint Aromatics. It made sense to put some of Joy's actual actual products behind me instead of just some generic ones, but I just love this photo she had. How can essential oils help us access deeper levels of consciousness or even facilitate altered states of awareness?
So, it goes back to really, it goes back to smelling and to connecting with the oil truly. I'm not one that says there's one particular oil for one particular anything, because we're all so different. However, there are oils that really do, that's what their job is. And the chemistry really is what it is. And the oil that helps open it up. So some of the essential oils that you could work with to kind of get that expansive are the high ether rich oils. One is nutmeg. And nutmeg, do you know that? I don't think he used essential oils, but back in the day, Nostradamus used nutmeg to enhance his visions. Now, I'm sure he ground the nutmeg and ingested it that way, and I'm not suggesting to do that, but nutmeg is one of them. Another oil that's like gateway into the psyche is mugwort. And that
That's what I have
component,
a lot of from your shop.
yeah, it's awesome. It is. And that component, and that is thujone. It's a ketone, and that's what it does. And then the licoricey smelling ones. So you have exotic basil, tarragon, fennel, aniseed. Those are they can be hallucinogenics if used improperly, but just by diffusing them or by using them like a normal in a normal safe fashion, there's no danger of that. But those oils can really help you get underneath what you need to get underneath in the psyche.
That's interesting. And I have never heard of nutmeg essential oil, and I'm a huge fan of nutmeg. So I'm going to look into that. That sounds interesting. I will not pull a Nostradamus and just grate nutmeg and lick it off
Yeah,
my hand or anything.
yeah. Me neither. Nope. Nope.
Can you share a personal experience you have with using oils for that purpose?
So the blend that I use when I want to kind of um, get underneath, to get underneath, underneath the intellect. I'll put it that way, because very often we know what's bothering us. We know why it's bothering us. If we've been in therapy, we've had years of talking about why it's bothering us. And so the oils that I use when I want to get underneath that, to really get in touch with the part of me that's holding that vibrationary pattern, I use Palo Santo, mugwort, nutmeg, and orange. And so I'll make a blend of that and I'll diffuse it. And I also use an inhaler, which is like the old Vicks inhalers. They're blank inhalers. You put the blend on the cotton wick and put it in and smell like that. And
Okay.
I had used, so that's my go-to blend, but I had used it when I was working with oh gosh, I guess I would call it, yeah, it must have been like part of a shame spiral type of thing. And I couldn't make sense why I was feeling a certain way, because the trigger didn't match the feeling. I mean, I didn't know where it came from. And I used that blend, diffused some, inhaled some, went into meditation, and then it cleared. And it cleared without going into the intellect. And the reason I know this is because the next time I was in that exact same situation, I didn't respond that way.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, so you're able to access emotions and memories that are buried in the system, and clear them with a sense of detachment.
That's really important right now with all the rancor going on in the country and the world. That's one
Yeah.
probably most people can use. In your experience, how does the intention behind using an essential oil interact with its vibrational properties, and how does that amplify any kind of spiritual or emotional benefits?
Intentionality, I think, is important in everything. Specifically when you're working with oils and you have an intention. I believe the oils are living beings. I don't just think they're products. So when there's an intentionality, you really are co-creating with that being or alchemy in the bottle. So when we set an intention using an essential oil, we're not just applying or inhaling or ingesting a substance. We're creating the partnership with that plant essence. And so our energy blends with its or her. I refer to a lot of oils as she, as her energy. So you have the alignment of energy. There's an amplification of the benefits because really you're telling that being what you need help with. So instead of the being just being like, I'm here to help you, they're like, okay, I'm on that train with you. And then of course there's a synergy between the oils, the intention, and then our vibration. So it's like night and day. It's night and day. You can give two people, they can have a flu, cold. You can give two people the same blend. They can resonate with the blend. One person goes home and uses it with intention and in honoring their partner, and the other just uses it as like, well, let me put it on. And the person that honors it will get results so much quicker than the person that just is using it as a product, quote unquote.
You are such Gaia energy, Joy. You know that, right?
Oh, no, I don't, but no, thank you.
Have you ever foraged for ingredients for your essential oils at any place, at any time in the history of you making essential oils?
Well, yes, actually, we go out into I call it harvesting, but I think it's the same thing. I go out into the forest here, and we harvest pinyon pine, Utah juniper. When sagebrush, but not sagebrush, when snakeweed is growing, we'll go and harvest that, and then I have a still at the shop, and so we'll distill it. And I don't get a lot of oil, but I do get a lot of hydrosol, and so
I kept seeing a vision of you going through the forest collecting things to make essential oils. I'm like, where's this coming from?
yeah, that's it.
Okay. How do essential oils resonate with the energy centers in our own bodies, such as our chakras? And how do they facilitate balance and spiritual growth?
That is such a great question. And so I'll just start off by saying any oil can be used with any chakra. There are, I call it essential oil and chakra 101. When we say first chakra, red, oil, patchouli, red, and that's fine. It is that works. It helps bring balance, and you're matching red to red. Or the other root is plant part, root and chakra, first chakra, root, grounding chakra, and that works too. However, any oil can be used for any chakra, and it really depends on what's going on with the chakra, so to speak. And so if you know what the pattern in the chakra is that you're working with, then you can choose an essential oil that will fit it better than, let's say, just patchouli. Because sometimes you'll have somebody they don't need grounding. Their first chakra they're depressed. They feel like they're screwed, and they don't need vetiver to help them be grounded more. So what they need really for that chakra would be something that would open that chakra up and not necessarily unground them, but expand them. And so instead of using, let's say, patchouli or vetiver, you would use, let's say, an oil like Palo Santo or agar wood, or one of the oils that are death and rebirth oils to kind of give energy and new direction to that chakra. And I've seen magic happen. I had this kid I was working with. Well, now I'm 62, so everybody's a kid, right? So she was a 35-year-old lady. So, but she was depressed. She didn't want to get out of bed. So I said to her, I said, I want you to use Fregonia. It's an oil from Australia. It's awesome. And so she took the Fregonia, she used it out of the bottle. It's a gentle oil, so you can use it neat. She used it out of the bottle, put some on the back of her head, this chakra, heart chakra, and the sacrum. And I ran into her about, I don't know, 2 or 3 days later. And she's like, hi, Troy. And I didn't recognize her. Yeah, she was so different. And like part of me was like, I liked you better the other way because I don't know who this person is. And she said, that oil that you gave me, just this is me now. And so it's magic. They're magic. They're magic little friends. They really are.
Well, I have an entire cabinet of essential oils, so I am a major believer in the value of using them for all kinds of purposes. But it's great to be able to talk to you about this. What are some practices that you use in just involving essential oils that you find effective for, especially for spiritual growth, and then maybe how listeners could explore them themselves?
My favorite one is I call this the triangular living library ritual. And it's my favorite one. And so really what it is you could use any oil that you feel called to. But I understand that when people first start out, you tell them just trust yourself, and none of us trust ourselves. So for this, you would lean to an oil that is like one of the spiritual ones: frankincense, myrrh, galbanum, balsam copaiba, palo santo, anything that has a spiritual lean to it. And it doesn't matter what ones. Of course, I say smell them and use the one that you like. And then if you can sit cross-legged, you sit cross-legged. If you can't, that's fine. You just sit however you're sitting. And then the intention is to connect to your living library. And so your living library is our Akashic record library, really. So it's like the information that we've come in this lifetime that is all we really need, instead of outsourcing to everybody else. And so you sit. And so in the triangular, so the cross leg helps make the triangular pose, but it is not necessary. It really isn't. And then you just anoint self here on either, if you're sitting triangle, on either knee, but if not, you could just do like the hips here, the hips, the wrist points, and I always like to do the heart. And you just sit comfortably, put one hand on your heart, the other hand on the third eye, and then just wait. And so you're waiting for not necessarily, if you're waiting, if you're an auditory person, you'll get information that way. If you're a vision person, you'll get vision that way. And if not, you'll just wait. You just wait until you feel a shift in the system. And it could be a yawn, it could be heat, it could be a shiver, it could just be a sigh. And that's my favorite one. My
I
favorite
like
one.
that. And that's simple. I think anybody could do that. So thank you. There's a lot of people who are really interested in ancestral generational energy. So how can essential oils help release that type of energy patterns?
So, now I'm going to sound like a hypocrite because, I go on and on and on about if you like the oil, but there are times that you can use oils, and so it goes back to the intentionality, right? So if you know that you are in grief or in trauma and you're looking for an oil to assist you, and you smell it and you want to use the one that you like, you want to use the one that gives you comfort. However, sometimes with generational patterns, I mean, we have not a clue, of why we feel the way we feel at all. And so this is sort of like reverse diagnosing, even though we can't diagnose, but I can't think of another word to replace that with. So you can utilize oils that you dislike to access trauma and to open up the ancestral lines and the timeline of that trauma. And the way that you do that, and it seems so counterproductive, but the way that you do that is that if you smell an oil that you really don't like, it's going to evoke some kind of emotional or visceral reaction. And that is going to resonate with some kind of unresolved issues or trauma, whether it's inherited from our lineage or from in utero, or accumulated in our own life, from when we were kids. Because to me, all trauma, well, most trauma goes back to the playground. And so the way that you do that is you take the essential oil and you smell, and then you're going to feel it somewhere in the system, and you apply the oil to the area of the body where you feel that tension or a little bit of resistance. And then you just sit with it, and you just sit and you just allow and sniff. And sooner or later, working with an oil like that, the information will come to you, what is causing that that vibrational pattern. And then after that, you'll like the oil. It's amazing. It really is.
I bet it provides a lot of a deep sense of relief to do something like that
It does,
because
because
we are dragging that energy around with us.
it is, and especially if that energy is starting to run the person, meaning it's up all the time. This feeling is up all the time, whether it's anxiety or shame or whatever. It's like you're kissing the wall all the time of it, and you're carrying it around all the time, and it's a drag.
I think a lot of people have no idea they're dragging that around, probably most people. So thank you for that.
Um,
What if you want to use essential oils to deepen a spiritual connection with earth itself? What would you recommend for that?
So what I do is I like earthing, walking around I walk around barefoot all the time. And so that would be one way, walk around, take your shoes off and get an essential oil. Ones that usually work with that are root oils. So vetiver, ginger, ply, spikenard, valerian. Valerian it's you have to like that oil. Yeah, but wrong one. So you would take that, you would put it on the soles of your feet. Or if you know Chinese medicine, the kidney point, kind of near on the upper part of the foot, on the soles of the feet, and then you just walk around and just connect that way. Other way is forest bathing, and that would be great. We can't really run around here naked, but it would be that type of thing. Find a forest or wooded area, go on a slow mindful walk. You don't have to be naked. You could be dressed, and you apply an essential oil that resonates with that walk. One way that's really great is that if you were walking, let's say here, and you're with pinyon pines, you would use pinyon pine essential oil. If you're somewhere else like Canada and there's fir balsam, you could use fir balsam essential oil. If you're in the city and all you see are like, let's say, marigold plants, potted plants, then you would use tagetes. And it goes back to the early question about intention.
I like
So,
that.
so and the other thing that a person can do, I do this quite a bit too, is I will make an offering back to the earth with the essential oil. I do. And some people don't want to let it drip in. So then you just take it, you put it on your hands like that, and a prayer and intention, whatever works. And you just then place your hands on the earth and send your energy into the earth for healing and connection. I like that one too.
That's so beautiful. If we can get enough of us doing that, we could actually make some difference in our poor planet right now.
I
If
agree.
some if somebody's just looking to deepen their spiritual connection with essential oils, what would you advise them to use?
Oh, let's see.
I
Well,
stumping you.
I would advise them to use what the smell that they like. And also I would advise them to use the method of the application that they resonate with. Some people really like to use essential oil in a lotion or an oil blend, and use it for good morning, good night. My skin is dry during the day. It could be as simple as that. The other people really like they like the connection of the inhaling. And so that you could use an inhaler, which is that little Old Vicks inhaler type thing, or as simple as just putting it on palms of the hand and breathing in. I do that quite a bit, like that. Other way is using a diffuser. You get one of those spa mist diffusers that have water and put a couple of drops of essential oil in, and then you could run that diffuser. That type of diffusing is called ambient diffusing, and you can diffuse all day long like that.
I
You could,
do every
yeah,
day.
me too.
My
Me
friends come
too.
over and they're like, "What is that smell?" And I'll tell them it's usually the same thing, but I know I'm going to want to have you back. And we barely touched all the subjects that I'd like to touch. And So I just want to remind people, Stillpoint Aromatics is in Sedona, and this is Joy. She's the founder and master teacher. I'm going to have contact information in the show description, whether you are listening or watching. So you'll be able to get that and reach out to her. I want to tell you that next Sunday, the topic is soul exhaustion. Thank you so much, Joy, for
Oh,
being
thank you so much.
today. It has been a total pleasure, and I want to have you back. I know people will be interested. I'm just going to say, please remember to like and subscribe if you are watching this on YouTube, and please like it and follow if you are listening on podcast platforms. It helps other people find the show who could really use the information on their own spiritual journey. In the meantime, may your angels surround you. May your angels protect you every moment, every day of your life. I'll see you next week.